Sex workers of Reddit, have any of you ever have a close friend or anyone you normally interact with daily be a surprise customer? What was the experience like, and how did it affect your interactions with them? Story 1.
This happened right before the pandemic crisis. I'm a male sex worker that specializes in muscle worship. Basically, I flex and let guys oil me up for cash money. You do it enough, and it's like a silly massage. Anyways, moving on, I work out 6 days a week and have multiple gyms memberships. In that process, I see a lot of people who are extremely fit. I always imagine that some of these people have to be doing what I'm doing. They drive European cars and seem to always been in the gym for hours. So one day, one of my regular Johns hires me for an appointment. Normally, I just flex, jerk off and talk crap as I'm doing it. This time, however, he springs on me that he's hiring another muscle guy and wants to watch us two jerk off and touch each other. I'm hesitate, yet after an increase in my hourly pay, I go through with it. Let me set the scene for you. I've never worked with another sex worker before, so I figured to thrust myself into the situation without any normalcy to lessen the awkwardness, if that makes sense. I figured being fully nude and ready to go would be the easiest icebreaker to another sex worker rather than making small talk and slowly taking our clothes off. I'm in the John's bedroom. Fully erected, oiled up, and the John is getting the other guy from downstairs. I can hear them walking up as I'm very much indecent when my heart immediately drops. I know this guy. I see him every week for 3 or 4 years. We never spoke, but always gave a head nod to each other. His face went white. My penis went limp. He acted like we never knew each other and I followed along. Hey bro, nice to meet you. 5 minutes later, our hands are on each other's dicks looking at each other trying to put on a show for the John. It was the most awkward situation, not knowing how this familiar stranger is reacting to my trying to ejaculate after years of acquaintance contact. I massaged him, he massaged me, it was all dandy work and it was over. He left first and I stayed back with my John to hang out a bit. The secret to client retention. 2 days later, I finally ran into the guy at the gym. It would have been fine to ignore each other, but we didn't. We made eye contact and something was gonna happen. I said, "So you too, huh?" And with an uncomfortable awkward silence we decided to fist bump.
Story 2.
Not a sex worker. But a girl from my high school became a somewhat popular cam model / amateur porn creator. Nearly 50 mil views on PH. My school was small, so everyone knew everyone, and she dated a good friend of mine for a while. As if she was fitting a stereotype, she was the very quiet, nerdy, shy girl in high school. I found out what she did, but made no attempt to reach out to her because I had no reason. One day I came across her porn Snapchat account, so I added it. My screen name on there is pretty much my full name, so it wasn't like I was trying to be sneaky. However, I assumed she was too busy to look at when people add her on things. Shockingly enough, she messaged me later that day, and we chatted normally. She was super nonchalant about everything. Apparently another kid from our high school found out, and went into her chat room spamming her real name followed by question marks. So she politely asked that I didn't do that. Seemed pretty reasonable. This was a few years ago. We are from the US, but she ended up moving to a major city in Europe. I happened to be visiting the area last year with my cousin for a backpacking trip, so on a whim I decided to send her a Snapchat saying I was in town. Again, I assumed she would be bogged down with messages from other people that she never even bothered to look. To my surprise again, she got back to me right away and we met for lunch later that week. I told my cousin we are meeting a friend and I informed him what she does for a living, but I told him not to bring it up unless she does. I wasn't sure how open she was about it in her day-to-day life. Sure enough, she showed up to lunch wearing a PH-branded Letterman jacket with her stage name on the back. Kind of set the tone for what she was cool with talking about. Lunch was fantastic. We just chatted and caught up. She said we could ask her whatever we wanted to know, so all of my questions were about what it took for her to move to Europe. She also gave us tips of places to see while we were in town. A quiet girl from my high school, who I hadn't seen or talked to in years, moved away and became a cam model. While I was on vacation, I decided to reach out to her on a whim, and we had a very wholesome lunch.
Story 3.
In the mid-90s, my friends took me to a strip club for my bachelor party. A few cocktails and a few stage shows in and out walks an ex-girlfriend of mine. She was stunningly beautiful, but bat crap crazy. My friends desperately tried to get her to give me a lap dance, offering her 5x the normal rate, but she refused. She said it would be too much of an emotional strain for her considering how intense our relationship was and ended. She ended up sitting with us between her floor shows and lap dances, just chatting. She had gotten actually married, and this was a way for her and her husband to save for a house. About halfway through the evening, one of the other dancers grabbed me and pulled me up on stage, whispered into my ear, "Are you wearing underwear?" which I affirmed. She pulled my pants down, sat me on a chair mid-stage, and another girl loosely tied my hands behind my back. Each girl took turns giving me a lap dance up on the stage. Turns out my ex paid them all for a lap dance and arranged the entire thing. Funny end to the story. After that event, I was at work on the sales floor of a local big box retail chain working, and in walks my ex. We chatted and have a good laugh. My lunch came and I went out into the mall towards the food court, and my ex comes up besides me with a bit of a panicked look in her eye. She slides her arm under mine and leans in and kisses me on the cheek, saying, "Let's go get that hot dog now." Befuddled, I walk with her towards the food court, and she proceeds to tell me one of her regulars was in the mall and he was stalking her. She told him she was married and he didn't believe her, so I got to play the part of her husband. I walked her out to her car after the hot dog and a leisurely chat to make sure she was safe, and never heard from her again.
Story 4.
My best friend's girlfriend used to be a stripper. After she met my friend, she quit stripping and started working as a bartender at a pub. I was a manager at a luxury hotel, and we had a guest who would stay with us every other weekend and get a hooker, sometimes male prostitutes too. We obviously knew about him, and like all of our guests, maintained his privacy. One night, smoke detector went off in his room. New Zealand has strict laws against indoor smoking. Normally, I get one of the duty managers to attend to such situations, and I only get involved when they refuse to pay the $200 fine. Anyway, that fateful night, the duty manager was busy handling another situation, so I go upstairs. Since I was a manager, I had the authority to blacklist any guest, and this is this guest's third time smoking in room. I knock on the door and I hear a frantic hold on a sec. The door opens and he is just wearing his undies. And I notice in the reflection of the mirror inside the room a naked chick going under the covers. I asked him about him smoking in the room. He very calmly and arrogantly told me that it was impossible for the smoke detector to go off as he had covered it with a condom. Now, that is a literal crime, tampering with the smoke detectors. I told him that I will have to take a look at the smoke detector to see what he has done, and will have to report it to the fire department so that they can come and make sure it's still functional. He let me in. I saw the condom-covered smoke detector and asked the guest to pack his bags, as I would be transferring him to another hotel. I was being very assertive. Then I looked over at the lady and my jaw dropped. It was my best friend's girlfriend. She was an escort without the knowledge of my best friend. After I had transferred the guest to another hotel and fire department already at the scene, I received a hooker's call asking me not to tell her girlfriend. I told her that's between them and that she needs to come clean, as her girlfriend truly loves her. And I love my best friend. She's been hurt and heartbroken many times. Lesbian drama. That night I got home and my friend was acting strange. Forgot to mention that my best friend and I were roommates too. I asked her what's up, and she asked if it was true that I came onto her girlfriend. I had the most intense WTF moment. I told her everything. She was in tears. I didn't know if she would believe me or her, so she called her over to talk to her. Before her girlfriend got to our place, my friend came to me and asked me if I was 100% sure that was her in the hotel room. I was absolutely positive. Then I gave her a hug and told her that I am sorry that she had to go through that, and whatever she would decide to do next, I understand, and that she would have my support. even if that meant either of us moving out. I was in my room pretty upset myself when the doorbell rang. My friend came into my room and asked me to accompany her to the door to greet her girlfriend. When we opened the door, my friend just asked me to make sure that bitch couldn't enter the house. She then grabbed her stuff and threw it out on the stairs, some of which hit the cheating bitch's face. She then told her to never ever contact her or come near her. After all that was said and done between them, after the storm had passed, I made my friend her favorite cocktail, went to her room, climbed into her bed and asked her why did she not even give her girlfriend a chance to explain herself. My friend's response, it hurts to know that she lied to me, that she cheated on me with a man. But I could have forgiven her for all that. But I can never forgive her for accusing you of something like that. You are not just my best friend. You are my bro. You are my lesbro. We slept in her bed watching Grey's Anatomy that night. I truly miss her. But yeah, her ex is now a full-on prostitute working at a brothel and has cancer.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to comment your opinion about these stories, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new stories.